So I want to thank the elected officials behind me, obviously, for letting us know where the need is, helping us make sure that their community is getting served. And so this is our newest site. We have other sites that are coming online. The governor will be announcing later this week a site in Miami Beach, which we should be opening this week, and then 2 more, one in Brevard County, one in Volusia County. And as we see that there is a need for this sort of model, we'll continue to open these sites. HHS is supposed to be pushing us collection swabs, collection kits over the next couple of weeks. I plan on using those in addition to the ones we've ordered with vendors to increase testing as much as possible. And the governor's talked about that obviously in his phased approach. We're also continuing to talk to labs to increase our lab capacity. Right now, as the governor's addressed, our capacity to process labs exceeds the demand based on how many collection kits we're sending, based on how many collections we can gather in a day. And so we'll continue to make sure that we're plussing up our labs so that we don't get into an issue as we get more collections, because it's really a 2-step process. And so we're signing another deal with another lab today in South Florida, so that will continue that march. The governor talked about obviously getting to 40,000 labs a day. We're already over 30,000 in that capacity, so we're looking forward to getting to that 40,000 number. When we open these sites, we open them up really at a 400 per person capacity, just again to work out the kinks, make sure everything works. After today, this site will go to 750 a day, just like our other sites. The one in Lee County is also going to go to 750 a day. We're not seeing, even in South Florida, any site doing 750. They're doing around 500, 600 a day. It goes up and down. But I just wanted to make sure that if people come and get in line and want to test, that they can get a test. The governor obviously addressed that we're going to get the antibody tests out, not just to hospitals, but to these drive-throughs. And so we look forward to accomplishing that this week as well as the mobile lab. And the whole point of the mobile lab really is to get results faster for our long-term care facilities. So these people are going to get swabbed, they're going to get results the same day, and then that thing is going to move from place to place to place. That's the whole point of being mobile. So don't be surprised if for a couple of days it's in South Florida, a couple of days it's here in Sarasota, Manatee, Tampa, then it goes up to the Panhandle, goes over to Duval. I mean, we are going to move that thing around to continue to try to get different samples from long-term care facilities and get results as fast as possible. And we'll obviously follow where we might have cases that are popping up. We'll also go to asymptomatic places because we want to see what's happening in those communities. We have walk-up sites that are still opening. One more will open up in Riviera Beach and Palm Beach this week, and we'll look forward to opening up more of those in underserved communities. We found some real good partners, FAMU in Leon County, the Urban League in Broward County. So I want to thank all of them because they've really been fantastic to work with. The governor talked about our PPE efforts. I won't go over the numbers. We're at 8 million masks right now for long-term care facilities. Another 500,000 went out yesterday. We'll be at 10 million by the end of the week, specifically just to long-term care facilities. Plus, the federal government is sending them 2 weeks worth of PPE. So there should be no issues with PPE in our long-term care facilities. If there is a long-term care facility that is still struggling, please contact the Division of Emergency Management. I personally will make sure that your needs are met. Hurricane season. As we get into hurricane season, one of the most important things that we do, one of the lessons learned from this, is to make sure that we have adequate supplies. And so in addition to making sure that we can serve the needs of today, we're making sure obviously that we're creating a stockpile for hurricane season. And so we are buying up PPE and putting it in reserve in our warehouse to make sure that we have 10 million masks on hand as we get into hurricane season. The governor announced just the other day that we signed a long-term deal with Honeywell in which we're going to get N95 masks right from the manufacturer. We're going to get 12 million of those over the next year. That's a long-term deal. And so, we're making sure that we will have the resources that we need as we get into hurricane season. FEMA's been a real partner, figuring out obviously how we're going to factor in COVID-19 into hurricane season. We're going to do more non-congregate sheltering instead of mass congregate sheltering. If we have to do mass congregate sheltering, what are the protocols we're going to put in place? Are we going to have COVID-only shelters? How are we going to do evacuations? How are we going to limit evacuations? So maybe you have stay-at-home orders for people who live in facilities who are built to a certain hurricane code based on the hurricane that is approaching. And so all of these options are on the table. We've been talking to all sorts of experts in the field, getting all sorts of different pieces of advice. I talk to Craig Fugate every couple of days. I talk to former Administrator Brock Long. We're talking to all sorts of different people because obviously Florida is going to be the tip of the spear on making sure that states are prepared to deal with COVID-19 and hurricane season. And Governor Sanders has been leading on that effort, making sure that we're going to be ready for whatever happens this hurricane season, whether we might see something early in June or July, or whether we might see something typically in the August, September timeframe. With that, Governor, thank you.